part of National Intellectual Property Awareness Mission NAPAM under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. And Sir is also a part of Kalam program for intellectual property literacy and awareness campaign, which is familiar, Kapila, under Ministry of Education, and delivered lecture in more than 80 seminar and national conferences in different universities and institutes all across the country. So now I request Shri Singh sir to start our session, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to the Institute for giving me this opportunity, and very good afternoon to all the participants. And thank you to the principal, sir, for giving us this opportunity and allowing us for this particular webinar on intellectual property rights. Now, first of all, it's very important for us to understand that why this mission, what is the motive of this mission, and why the government is too much proactive towards this particular topic, that is intellectual property rights like patents, design, trademark, copyright, or maybe other intellectual properties. Now, this particular mission has been started last year in the month of December itself, and the basic motive behind this mission is that we want people across the country to know about the different rights that they have related to these intellectual properties, like we have patents, design, trademark. Now, we have seen a lot of changes in our economic structure. Like earlier, India is completely a socialist country, or maybe most of the organization, most of the institution are under the control of the government. But right now, we have seen so many changes in the economic structure. Like we have seen that in 2015, around 4 to 500 startups were there in India. But right now, we are having more than 50 to 60,000 startups in India. So that's a huge difference. That's a huge uplift in the number of private institution that has came into the structure, and they are so much motivated in starting their own businesses. So these are some of the changes, and other changes are, we have seen that government had also motivated people with some of the missions like Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India. So they want people to become a manufacturing unit, and they want to people to start their own businesses so that they can create jobs for the people itself. They should not, the people should not be the job seeker, they should be the job givers. So these are some of the important facts regarding that. This is the main reason that we want to make people aware about this particular thing, that if you are starting any business, if you are having your any company, then you should have the understanding about your creative work. If you are having any technology that is developed by you, if you are having any product that is developed by you, if you are having any company with a particular specific name which is a very catchy line, so you should have a trademark. You, so these are the important thing that we need to understand, that how you can protect your creative work and how you can get the economical benefits out of it. Because if you see that it's basically an intellectual property. Now, with, if you see properties are basically of two types. One is the intangible properties, and other tangible properties. What are tangible properties? All the physical properties are basically tangible properties. So in the tangible properties, we have so many examples, like we have buildings, we have cars, we have land, like we have multiple examples with us. But if we see that we can do all the economical activities, like we can buy them, we can sell them, we can rent them, we can lease them. So all these economical activities are possible with these tangible properties. But there is another property, that what we are going to learn today is an intangible property. Now, this intangible property can do all the economical activities that we are doing with this physical properties. So we need to understand that what are the different intangible properties, what is the differentiation between them, how we can file them, how we can get the protection, what is the category. So these things we are going to learn in this particular webinar. Now, just to in the starting itself, I have told you that we are too much proactive towards making the company startups. Now you will be really shocked to see some of the data that I'll share right now. That India is the third largest ecosystem of the startups. Now, having so many startups, but if you see that number of intellectual properties, like if the number of patents filed by the different people in the in country is less as compared to any other country in the world. Now, if I share some of the data of very known capitalist countries, like is the major economic structure is basically on the capitalist things. So if I talk about the US, now US is having more than 6.5 lakh patents are being filed in the country in an year itself. Now, if I talk about China, China is filing around 15 lakh patents in a year. Now, if I compare this data with the Indian filing, now in India, around only 50 to 60,000 patents filed in a year. So the gap between these countries and India is huge. Now we need to understand that why this gap is huge, because one of the major reason is that we are not much aware about these intellectual properties. We are not aware about how we can protect them and what is the actual benefit behind it. So this bridge, this gap, we need to fill up. We need to become the technology creator. We need to become the scientific research to bring it into the front, and we need to become a manufacturing based country also. So these are things that we need to understand. Now I'll share my presentation now. Please.
Dr. Munir?
Sir, you can share, sir.
Yes, yes.
Sir.
Can we allow all the participant without permission, because it's showing again and again?
Sir?
I'm saying that is it possible to give permission to all the participants directly,
Uh,
because it's creating a little bit disturbances again and again.
okay.
Is my presentation visible to all?
Sir, still not it, sir. Oh, yeah. Yes,
Is
sir.
it visible now?
Yes, sir. Visible.
Okay, thank you. So this is basically a National Intellectual Property Awareness Mission that we are under which we are doing this particular webinar. Now, what are the different intellectual properties that we are having in this? Now we are having patents, design, trademark, geographical indication, copyrights, semiconductor integrated circuit layout design. So these are the different category under which we can file our intellectual properties. Now we will learn about each and every intellectual property one by one, and I will take all the question at the end of the session. So if you have any query, either write in the chat box or I ask all the questions at the end of the session. In between, I will not take any query because it will break the flow of the session. So one important thing about the different intellectual property is that, now let us take the example of this particular laptop that you are seeing on your screen. Now, this is a particular product that a company is selling, that is a Apple laptop. Now, this Apple laptop is having multiple technology, multiple other IPs. Now, what they have done to protect their technology? They have done one thing, that they have filed all the technology that is used in this particular laptop under the registration of the patents. So they patented technology. Now, what they have done to protect the design, the outer case of the laptop, they have registered the design of the laptop under the design registration. Now, the sign of the company is under the trademark registration. Now, the user manual in the laptop, the algorithm, software, and other things are under the copyright protection. And the last is the SIC, means if I talk about the electronic plate inside this laptop is under the SICL design protection. Now you can see from here itself, now you cannot even find out a single part in this laptop which is not under the protection of the IP. The reason is that because they don't want anything of their intellectual property related thing, they don't want anyone to copy it, because there are multiple competitors in the market right now, like we have Lenovo, HP, Dell, or maybe any other countries, companies. So they don't want these companies to copy their IP. They want each and everything to be under their exclusive control. So this is how the companies do the businesses, and this is how they have the protection over these IPs. Now the importance and significance of these IPs. Now the first thing is that for the IPR registration we will get the protection. Second thing is that we will exclude others from doing any economical activity without our permission, without the permission of the proprietor or maybe the author. Or third is that it will help you in monetizing, commercializing, and earning from that IPR. Now, what are the two different categories that we are having right now? Like we have multiple people in this particular world, and they have a different profession or maybe different. They come under different category. Now, for a businessman, this IPR is very much important. Why? Because it will help you in commercializing, brand value creation, and earning and investing. So it's very obvious that since the starting of this particular webinar, I was talking about the business, startups, and companies or other things. So it is very clear from here itself that for a business perspective, it's a very important tool, IPR registration. But how it can be beneficial to a common person? Now, for a common person, it's also important because it will help you in academic upgradation. Means if someone is having multiple patents, uh, multiple copyrights or multiple other intellectual properties, then he or she will have a different status in the society, or maybe she or he has a different status in the academic world. The people will start saying that he or she is having a really good innovative thought, or they are highly intellectual, or they are very much their understanding about the different topic, their innovative thinking is very much different as compared to others. So it's very good for any common person also, because it will make you feel pride in that particular perspective. And one another thing is that it will help you in academic upgradation. Like if you see any academic institute, if you see any engineering institute, if you see any university, if you see any other institute, you will find out that how the people in the institute get a good position, like the all the prestigious position, like the vice chancellor, or maybe the registrar, or maybe the dean of the university, or maybe the principal in the university. So these positions are held by those people who have multiple IPRs, or maybe the research papers or other these correlated things. So it's very important tool for even for a common person also. Even for a student also, it's a very important thing. Why? Because if someone is having a single patent, then that particular student will have a different uh, status in the group of students. Why? Because if let us assume that someone is going for an interview and there are 100 students, if someone is having a patent granted, then what will this will create a different thought in the mind of the person who is taking the interview. They will definitely ask that student that in which category you are having the patent, what is actually your patent, and they will much more interested in hiring that person, because that person is a someone who may create a innovative things for their company. So that particular person may be beneficial for their R&D as well. So it's very much important for us to understand that not even only for a business friend, it's very much important for a common person as well. Now, first IP that we are going to learn is the patents. So what is a patent? Patent is first of all a sovereign or a state right. What is the meaning of
Sir,
that? Yes, please.
sir, your presentation is not visible, sir.
Okay, let me re. Is my screen shared with everyone?
Yes, sir, it's right now okay, sir.
Now is the presentation is also visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no
Yes,
problem.
Siddharth.
Okay, thank you. Now, the first thing is that patent is a sovereign or a state right. It means if you are filing anything in India, it will only be protected in India. Now, let us assume that someone has filed a patent in US or maybe in China. Then, in that case, that particular person will have the protection only in US or China. They will not have any jurisdictional right in India, or they cannot stop any economical activity in India. If you want, you can copy that thing, you can utilize that thing, you can do the business with that thing without the permission of the proprietor. So the first thing that we need to understand is that patent is a state right or a sovereign right. So it's a territorial right. First of all, we need to understand. Now, one important thing is that I have in the starting, I have shared one company's example, like laptop of Apple company. Now, how they do the IPR filing? Like if they want to file a patent, what they will do? They will first identify the different countries where they want to file a patent. Now, because they think that they have a good business in India, China, US, UK, Japan, US, Australia, Germany. So what they will do, they will file the patent all the different. So this is how they are going to get the protection. They will file the patent in all the different countries, and after that, they can have the protection in those countries where they have filed the patent. If they only file because let us if Apple is a US company and they only filed the patent in US, then they will not have any protection in India. If any company wants to make the similar product in India, they can make it without the permission of the Apple, and you cannot do any infringement case against that person. So it's very important for us to understand that patent is a territorial right. So if someone says that it's a global right or an international right or something like that, I am having an international patent, it means they are either not aware about it or they are using a wrong terminology. So there is nothing like an international patent or a global patent. Second thing is that patent is given for a period of 20 years. Means if you have filed anything today, your things will be protected for the upcoming 20 years. After that, your things will come into the public domain, and whosoever wants to use it, they can use it without your prior permission. So next thing is that can see on our screen that there are multiple examples of the inventors and scientists right now on our screen. Like we have Albert Einstein, Alexander Graham Bell, Wright brothers. So like this, we have multiple examples on our screen. Now, one thought we used to have in our mind, like most of the researches and most of the theories are already being given by people, and it's very much difficult to develop anything new out of uh, because what we usually have in our mind that invention is something very extraordinary. It's very difficult to create anything new which is not at all available anywhere in the world. So this type of thought we usually have when we talk about the patent. Like if someone is having a patent, what people will say that it must be a very outstanding technology or maybe outstanding product, that's why he got the patent over it, or she got the patent over it. So these thought we need to first we need to clarify on these thoughts. One we need to understand is that there is a concept of invention that we need to understand. After inventions, what happens that like each invention has some problems with it, because at that point of time maybe the things are good, but with the passage of time or with the change in the technology, there is a need for the upgradation in the technology in the same product, basically innovation. So we need to understand this concept of innovation. Innovation means if you are solving any problem of the society or any prior art with the help of any technology, or maybe with the help of any product, it means you are innovating new things. And innovations are basically filed for patents. So if I talk about any industry like telephone industry, now in the telephone industry itself we have seen so many examples, or we have seen so many changes in that. Like earlier telephone was a very different thing which was developed by Alexander Graham Bell. Now with the change of time, with the passage of time, what has happened that the industry innovated new product, like we used to have the PNT type of phone. After that, we used to have the cordless phone. After that, mobile phones with a keypad. After that, touch phones. After that, we used to have a single SIM, dual SIM technology, eSIM technology. So these are the upgradation in the known technology, known field. So it's not like that we are developing something out of the frame. We are developing the similar product or the similar utility, but some of the features has changed, which are not there in the system earlier. And now that problem has been solved through this technology, which is innovated by you, or which is innovated by an inventor. So that is the thing that we need to understand. Now examples, like we have these examples also, like we have in patents. Now some of the examples are like this, these are the product. Now this product is a very simple and beautiful example of that, how we can develop any product which can solve this particular problem. Now what's the problem here? The problem is that the infants feel irritated, and when the soapy waters comes into their eyes, so that problem is being solved through this particular product. So this is how we need to understand the problem first of all, and how you are giving the solution of that problem. And that is the basically meaning of the innovation. We can see so many examples on our screen right now, like we have Apple filed for a patent, Toyota filed for a patent, or Defense Ministry filed for a patent. So these examples are just to give you an idea that each and every company, when they file for a patent first, they first file for a patent, whether it's a government institution or a private institution. If they want to have the monopoly right, or if they want to have the protection, they will file for a patent first of all. If they do not file, whether, so if someone thinks that that my company is a government institution, then I don't need a protection. No, that is a very wrong thing, because if you want to have the protection over your technology, whether it's a government institution or a private institution, you want monopoly, you want exclusive right, have to file a patent for that. Now the patent application forms. Now in the patent application filing, there are multiple forms are there, like 1 to 30 forms are there. So out of those, all the 30 forms you need not to understand. Only some forms are there that you need to understand, and these forms are 1, 2, 3, 5, and 18. Now what is form 1? Form 1 is basically a form in which you need to give the details of the applicant and the inventor and the address and other details. Those details you need to give in the form 1. After that, there is form 2. Form 2 is basically the form for description purpose. Means you need to describe your invention in this particular form. There are two ways of filing the description. One is the provisional specification, second one is the complete specification. Now if someone's application is still pending, means if you are still working on your technology or on your product, then you still have a chance to file a patent before the completion also. Then in that case you can file a provisional specification. Means the information is incomplete, but you can file it. But you need to file a complete specification in that case in a period of 1 year. Means if someone has filed a complete specification in the starting itself, then it's well and good. If you have filed a provisional specification, in that case you have 1 year, and you need to submit the complete specification within a period of 1 year. So these are the two things that we need to understand, that form 2 is for the description purpose, and there are two ways of filing the form 2. Now next is the form 3. Form 3 is basically a form for the foreign filing disclosure. Means if you have filed any similar application in any other country, like if you have filed the application in China, Japan, or Sri Lanka, or any other country, then you need to understand that if you are filing anything in any other country also, the similar application, then you need to disclose that information with form 3. Like I have filed a similar application in China also, so that disclosure that you need to make in the form 3. Now next is the form 5. Form 5 is basically declaration as to inventorship. Now, declaration as to inventorship means you need to disclose that who are the inventors of the invention. Now, in some cases, while in the case of the provisional specification, sometimes the number of inventors in the application may change. Means earlier only two inventors are there, but while completing the information, the number of inventors has changed from two to four. So that for that reason, Form 5 is there, that you need to disclose who are the inventors of the application after the completion of the invention. So these are the four forms: 1, 2, 3, and 5. Now, after submitting these four forms, your application will go for the publication process. Now, after the publication, the only motive of this publication is for the disclosing this information to the public domain and make people aware that whether this information is already available to you or not. Or maybe if someone wants to file for a pre-grant opposition, means if they want to file that, and if they say that we are already using this technology, or we have this information earlier and we have the patent over it, or maybe I have read this same thing in the particular document, then they can file a pre-grant opposition against that particular applicant, saying that it is already available. So for that, only for those purpose, this publication is being done, so that we can get the pre-grant opposition, other things. Now, but it this publication does not give any disclosure about the grant or the refusal of the grant. Means there is a myth in the academic world, or maybe in the mind of the people, that if someone's application is published, it means their patent is granted. No, publication does not give any information with the grant or the refusal, because till publication no one has checked your application yet. This application, whatever material that you have submitted, is going directly to for the publication purpose. No one will check, will do any scrutiny with that particular document. All the scrutiny and all the document checking will take place after the Form 18 has been filed and after the publication is. So the last form is the Form 18, that is the request for examination. In the request for examination, uh, after this, your application will go for the examination purpose. And this is the fee. Now, who is a natural person, startup, small entity, or education institute? The fees will be 1600 plus 4000. Total fees is 5600. Now, other than this category, the fees is 8,000 in the Form 1 and 20,000 in the Form 18. So total fees is 28,000. So this is basically the fees for the two different category. So in this particular category, if you are a startup, small entity, or education institute, you need to provide a certificate as a proof that you belongs to this category. Natural person are basically any individual or group of individuals. Now there are two ways of filing the form. One is the hard copy filing and second one is the e-filing. For hard copy filing, you need to submit all the form directly to the patent office, and situated at four different locations like Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, and New Delhi. You can directly submit all the forms in these particular offices as per your nearby office. You can go and submit your applications. Now, online filing can be done from anywhere across the country or across the world. This is the website, that is ipindiaonline.gov.in, and you can just log in to that particular website, and this type of page will open. You can see and submit all the forms here. After just logging in, you can see all the forms and submit there. Now, the expedited examination. Now, there is particular uh, way of filing the examination form. Like there is a form that is 18A. Now there, what is expedited examination? If you want to speed up the complete process of this patent examination, there are some category of people who have given particular right to file the expedited examination. So for that, what happens that in expedited examination, you will get priority over other application. Means if 500 applications are there in the queue, and you have filed expedited examination application at the 501th time, then you will get the priority over all the other ordinary application, and your application become the first in that. So your will application will be examined in the so for the expedited examination, there is some eligibility, like you need to be a startup, small entity, any of the applicants needs to be a female if you are a government organization. So like this, these are the different categories and who can go for the expedited examination. Now the screening and classification. Now there are some applications which are not patentable. Now what is the thing? We need to understand there are some category like atomic energy related or defense related. Now these applications will be sent to the concerned correlated department like atomic energy department or defense related department is DRDO. Now after getting the approval from these correlated department like atomic energy or DRDO, if they give approval that yes you can you can proceed for the further processing, then your application will go for the publication and other processes. If they say that your application is not patentable under this right under this act, and they say that it is not patentable, then your application process will not go further in these categories only: atomic energy and defense related. Now the examination process. So examination process in the patent application is basically two-tier examination is there, and in that also we have two things, that formal examination and technical examination. Formal examination is just checking all the forms, like whether you have submitted all the forms correctly with all the signs and all the documents. And technical examination is basically checking all the complete specifications with the technical features, like we will check the three things, like the novelty of the application, novelty and inventive step and industrial applicability. So these are the three checks in any invention that we do. If you qualify all the three checks and all the things are okay, then your application is patentable. Patentable means you can get the patent over it. So after doing the examination, we will send you first examination report. Now this first examination will consist of all the different objections that will be communicated to you. And after sending this report to you, you need to reply us on this FER, that is on this first examination report. Now after getting a reply from your side within a period of 6 months, because there is a fixed timeline of 6 months. Now in that you need to reply us on these objections. If all the objections are being properly answered, or we will recheck and all the things, if all the answers are properly clarified and everything is okay, you will be granted a patent. If there are still some pending issues with your application will go for the hearing process. In the hearing, we will have a technical discussion with the applicant or the inventor, and it can be in the video conferencing mode also. So after the hearing, if all the objections are being met and you have clarified things properly, then you will be granted a patent, else it will be refused. Now these are the timelines of the patent application, like provisional to complete, that I have already told you, 12 months of timeline. Time period request for examination 48 months, FER 6 months. So like these are the different timelines. Now the next IPR that we have in the system is the design. So what is a design? Design is basically any features of shape, configuration, pattern, and composition of lines and colors which are solely judged by the eyes. Means whatever you are seeing through your eyes basically comes under the design's perspective. Now what is basically design's thing, that if you see any product, the outer case of that product basically comes under the design protection, or we will call it as the aesthetics of the product. So that is under the design protection. Now just to give you an example, like let us assume that I want to buy a car. and that car I want to buy has some specification I give you. Like I want to buy a which cost around 10 lakh of rupees, and we should have 1500 cc engine, and we should have which should belongs to Maruti company. Now under this category with these specification, there are multiple options right now we are having in the market. Like we have Maruti Suzuki Artiga, we have S-Cross, we have Brezza. Now, out of these examples, some of you will say that I want to buy Brezza, some of you will say I want to buy Artiga, some of you will say I want to buy S-Cross. So, how you have made your choice? Only on the basis of the design, outer looks of the product. Why? Because other specifications are similar, or maybe the technical things are similar. The features, when the utility of the product is same, and so we usually go for the designs, and we usually choose the product on the basis of the designs of that. So protection in the design, that protection is 10 years and it can be extended up to 5 more years. Now the design forms. Now in the design, the fees is 1000 rupees for the individual, startup and entity, and for the others. Now who can go for this? First of all, what are the forms? Form is basically one needs to be submitted, and these are the details like applicant's full name and other details. So like address, class, type of application. So these details you need to give in the design form. One important thing is that you need to disclose about the design thing in this way. Like you need to provide the two sets of representation illustrating various views of the art. You need to take the pictures of that particular product, or maybe the outer case of that particular product from the different angles, and you need to submit the two copies of each. Now this is the specimen sheet of the design. Like now this is a teapot. Now how the novelty of the product is being checked? Novelty means newness. Newness of the product is being checked only on the base of the shape and the configuration of the product. If this is okay, then you will be granted a design. Else it will be refused. One important thing about the design registration is that you cannot claim anything by virtue of this registration related to the mechanical feature or mechanism, or maybe the principle of construction of this particular product, because that thing are being covered under the patents only. Mechanical features, principle of construction, so those parts, those things are being covered in the patent part. If you want the protection over that thing, have to file a patent for this. If you want to have the outer case protection, then we have the design. Now the trademark. What is a trademark? Trademark is basically any word, name, symbol, or device, or maybe combination of all of them, which help us in distinguishing or identifying the source of goods or services from one trader to that of the others. Now, let us assume there are multiple companies right now in this world, and in the same category itself, there are so many companies. Like if I talk about the textile related companies, now there are so many companies like where I can go and buy the products. Like if I want to buy a t-shirt, then there are multiple companies like Reebok, Adidas, Nike, Puma, or maybe many other companies are there. Now if I want to only buy a product from an Adidas company because I like the product, I like the quality, I like the texture of the because I know that Adidas is providing the same thing that what I want. So what I will have to do, I will have to go into the market and I will have to uh, check out that where is the company with the name Adidas, and I can easily identify on the basis of the trademark name of that company and the logo of that company. So I can identify the company. So it's very important perspective for the it's very important IP for the consumers also. Why? Because it will help us in identification of our quality product. Now, second thing is that for any other individual, like for a supplier, for a manufacturer, for a for any other uh, uh, seller. So it's very much important, because if you are a company and you do not have trademark, then there are so many problems. Why? Because let us assume that I am running the company with some services. Let us assume that I am providing services to the mobile, like cases of the mobile, maybe the repairing of the mobile. So these services that I am providing, and my company name is ABC Technologies. Now let us assume that I do not have any protection over that ABC Technologies, and I did not take trademark registration for that. So in that case, what will happen? Maybe my company is getting successful, maybe the people are really liking my company, the quality of the work, but I will not get the maximum benefit out of this company. Why? Because some of the reasons are there. First is that maybe there may be a issue that maybe some another person can open that company with the similar name, ABC Technology, or maybe the similar type of name, where they can make fool of other people and they can provide the similar services. Now in that case, first of all, your income is going to get distributed with the. Second is that because maybe any other company which is opened with the similar name, which was opened with the similar name like ABC Technologies, then in that case maybe they are providing a bad quality services. My services are really good, but the fake company, the first copy company, is providing the bad quality services, and people have starting making this particular mindset that earlier that ABC Technologies was really good, but right now they are not providing the same quality. Their quality of services has degraded. So it's very much important, because uh, there are two ways. First is that there your income has is distributed in one way, because multiple companies are there with the same name and similar services. Second thing, because maybe with the bad quality product, or maybe with the bad quality services, people stop going to your company with the same name. If whether it's a original company or the fake company, they stop buying product or services from you. Why? Because they're thinking their quality has degraded. So in that case, also your income is going to get reduced. So it's very important tool for any company or any business. Now there are multiple subject matters that comes under the trademark registration, like trademarks, trade names, collective mark, certification mark, taglines, shapes, sound marks. These are the different categories. Now, how to indicate a trademark? It's how you can identify. Now, first thing is that if you are registered, if you see any word with a registered name, the registered trademark name, that you will find out with the R written over it. Second thing is that if the process of registration is still pending, or if the application is in the process, then that word will come with the TM written over it. Now the term of protection of the trademark is 10 years, and you can extend this term of trademark for the indefinite period. The only thing is that you need to renew each time before 10 years completion. 10 years each time, and so on. Means there is this, the registration is initially for 10 years. Before the 10 years you need to renew your license, and you can proceed for the next 10 years. So like this you can extend your trademark for the indefinite period of time. Now next is the copyright. What is a copyright? Copyright is basically author's right or proprietor's right, and in which they can stop the copying of the subject matter related to the literary work, or maybe the artistic work, or maybe the dramatic, musical, sound recording, or cinematographic films. So that is the basically the category that comes under the copyright protection. Now, for the different category, we have different term of protection in the copyright. Like we have literary work, term of protection is life of the author plus 60 years. Cinematographic film, we have 60 years of protection. Recording, we have 25 years. Performance right, we have 50 years. So for the different category, we have the different term of protection in the copyrights. Now, form 14 needs to be submitted along with whatever is work you want to file. You can file uh, that work with along with this form and the fees. The fees is this: literary work, dramatic work 500, artistic work 2000, sound recording 2000, and cinematographic films is 5000 rupees. So this is the fees in the copyrights. Next IP that we have is the SICLD, that is Semiconductor Integrated Circuit Layout Design. Now, in this competitive world, we see that most of the product right now is electronic product. And in these electronic product, we need to understand the importance of these SICLD, means SIC designs, layout designs. So here itself, what is the meaning of this SIC? SIC means any combination of different transistors or maybe different electronic circuitry element which perform a particular circuitry function. So combination of these diodes, these transistors, these other electronic circuitry elements is basically performing a function. Now this function can only be performed if we put this particular different ICs or maybe different elements at a particular location only. So now let us assume that now this is a circuit. Now in this particular design, now in this particular SIC, there are multiple parts, like there is, this is a input output pad, this is a transistor, this is a diode, this is other thing, this is a metal track. So there are multiple things in this particular SIC. Now in this SIC, it is performing a particular function. Now, one thing we need to understand that if you do not have protection of this SIC, what will happen? Other people will use your layout design and they will use this particular layout design in their product also. Because in electronic product, the whole soul of product is this particular layout only. If we take out this particular combination of different SIC and their particular positioning and put it in any other product, what we will do, we will get the similar output what we are getting in the main product. So that is very, very much important for us to understand that SIC is basically layout design of these different combination of circuitry elements which are put together at a particular location. Now let us assume that we are using right now 6 inches mobile. Now the 6 inches mobiles are basically, or maybe 5.7 or maybe 6.5 inch mobile you are using. Now these mobile are performing particular functions. Maybe the camera is of that quality, maybe the touch screen is somewhere, maybe you are having the fingerprint lock at particular location. These positioning of these different functions and these uh, positioning of different circuitry elements are put together in that particular plate to perform these functions. Now, if someone develops a mobile with the size of 3 inches and they are giving the similar output, that particular mobile of 3 inch, it means that particular person has used a different layout, they have used a different strategy to make in to uh, put all the functions in that particular design itself, in that particular layout itself, in that particular 3 inch size itself. So that is the reason it's very much important nowadays that SICLD is very much important because most of the products are electronic based. Now, term of protection in the SIC is 10 years. Now, fees in the SIC is 5,000 rupees. Now, the last IP that we have is the geographical indication. Now, geographical indication is basically any indication that identifies a product that has a specific geographic origin and poses a quality or reputation that is due to that origin only. Now, because the term itself, geographical indication itself means giving identity to a particular geography. So the word itself clarifies the complete thing. Now, one important thing we need to understand how this geographical identity is coming into the picture. Now, each and every product, they have some specialty as per the, maybe because of the geographic region, and that is climatic condition, that is because of the soil of that place, or maybe the growing technology, or maybe the cultivation technology, or maybe the art form that people have on that particular location. So, or maybe the traditional knowledge of the people. So those all combining all these different identities, that particular product is becoming special as compared to any other similar product in the country or across the world. So it's basically this identity which we are giving to that particular product. So it can be an edible product also, or it can be any art form also. So this GI is basically given to the community, not a single individuals cannot file a GI. It can only be filed by an organization, maybe a community, maybe a state, city. Like this, it can be filed only. Now, if this basic motive behind this GI registration is that the government want people to get popularity of their work. Means if any work is there, after getting the GI, you will get popularized all across the world. And one another thing is that you will start getting a better income for the same product. So that is the basic reason thing behind the GI registration. Now examples are like Darjeeling tea, Makrana marble, and other examples are also there. Like we have Kanjipuram silk, Ratnami silk, Putlis from Rajasthan, Bagh print, Bengal Patchit. So these are the examples. There are multiple edible things like mangoes, Bihar lychees, saffron from Kashmir. So these are the GIs. Now the career opportunities in this particular IPR field, we have government jobs like examiner of patents and design, examiner of trademark, examiner of copyright. In other, we have patent agent, trademark agent, GRF, SRF in the patent facilitation centers. So these are the different opportunities in career in IPR. This is the institute, that is Rajiv Gandhi Nation Institute of Intellectual Property, which is situated in Nagpur. If you want to learn more about the IPR, drafting of the application, drafting of the patent application, filing in any country, drafting of copyright application, drafting of the trademark application, that information, that learning you can get that from this institute itself. There are online courses also which are run by this particular institute, which is this RGN IPM. This is the email. You can just contact on their email, or maybe on this website you can see the presently courses running by this particular institute, and you can join them. So that was all about the. Any queries, any questions, you can ask me now. If you do not have any query, we will end the session here.
Any delegates? If you have any query, you are pleased to ask the question.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, these IPR patent rules are similar to literature students or literature things also, sir?
Please give a little bit details, like please clarify your question first of all, what you are trying to ask.
Yes, sir. Sir, these what you told, regulations and all those, sir, IPR regulations, are they similar to literature also? That means when we publish the book like that.
Yes, yes,
The
yes. Actually, like
trademark.
when you publish any book, it comes under the IPR when under the copyright itself.
Ah,
So
yes,
these
sir.
are also the similar things. First,
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
any other query?
We request the delegates to ask for any queries. Sir, thank you very much, sir. It is a really a wonderful session, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
It's very useful, sir. Very needed too. Sir, with the permission, sir, I request Dr. S.V. Suresh, sir, to deliver vote of thanks, sir.
Okay. So good afternoon to all. So I am Suresh Kumar here to present the vote of thanks for the today's webinar session. So since sir, it is really informative session you have provided, and you have given the entire details starting from the definition itself, and you have given the various filing technique, filing forms, and etc. And it is almost useful for everybody, and even the PG students also have the topics like IPR and etc. And it is too informative for them also. And hope the delegates have got enough information regarding the IPR and patents. So with this, I conclude this vote of thanks session. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much. On behalf of Santaram College of Pharmacy, and thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So should I end the session from my side?
Munir?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, again.
Thank you for accepting our request, sir.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.